Alright, to create this part, I will start by sketching this profile on the front plane. I'll set this dimension to 10 millimeters and place my origin at the center of this circle. This ensures that once the part is created, the top plane will be exactly in the middle of this thickness. Let's enter the sketch on the front plane. I draw one circle with a 20 millimeter diameter and another with a 40 millimeter diameter. Next, I add a rectangle with a thickness of 15 millimeters and a length of 60 millimeters. So I draw a rectangle with a width of 15 millimeters and a length of 60 millimeters. I align the center of the rectangle horizontally with the origin. And to attach this rectangle to the circle, you might consider making this line tangent to the circle. However, in this case, they only intersect at a single point. So we end up with a gap like this. Therefore, I cannot use a tangent relation. I delete the relation. I move the rectangle again, and this time I make the corner point coincident with the circle to create the intersection. Now the issue is resolved, and there is no gap. But keep in mind, we entered a 60 millimeter dimension from here. If it's important that the 60 millimeters starts from the quadrant of the circle, we can hit Ctrl-Z, make the line tangent, keep the 60 millimeter dimension, and then use the line tool to connect these areas. The exact size here isn't important. And finally, convert this line of the rectangle to construction geometry. Now I go to the Features tab and select the Extruded Boss command. Under Selected Contours, I select this profile and this one. Then extrude the sketch by 50 millimeters in this direction. I edit the feature and, in the Selected Contours box, include the inner contour as well, like this. Now viewing from the top plane, I cut a triangular shape out of the model with dimensions of 25 millimeters and 50 millimeters. Notice that the top plane is currently at the center of symmetry. I enter the sketch on this plane. I start a triangle from this point with a coincident relation extending to this point and this point. "25 millimeters here and 50 millimeters here. Then I use the Extruded Cut command and set the end condition to up to next. To create this section, I start a sketch on the back face and draw this profile. One circle with a 20 millimeter diameter and another with a 40 millimeter diameter. So let's enter the sketch on this face. I draw a vertical line and a circle with 20 millimeter diameter. Using the same center point, I also draw a circle with 40 millimeter diameter. This circle must be tangent to this line. The dimension is 32 millimeters. The endpoint will also be horizontally related to the circle's center point. So, 32 millimeters for the dimension and add a horizontal relation between these 2 points. Finally, I draw a curve using the arc tool with a radius of 27.29. I select the arc tool and draw from this point to this point, making it tangent on both sides. And the radius is 27.29 millimeters. Then I trim the inner entities. As we mentioned, our sketch must always be a fully closed profile, so we also need to draw this section here. To do this, without leaving the sketch, I use the Convert Entities command. It's an extremely useful tool. I select the Convert Entities command. Then, in the Entities to Convert box, I pick the edges I want to project. I pick this edge and this edge, and click OK. Notice that inside our active sketch, SolidWorks projects the selected edges onto our current sketch plane. To use Convert Entities, you need to be inside an active sketch. The selected entities will then be projected onto the current sketch plane. For example, I can select this line and convert it. It gets projected directly onto the sketch plane I'm currently working on. If you look closely, you'll see a Convert Entities relation here. This shows that this black, fully defined line is an exact projection of the original edge. This means that if the original edge changes size or position, this sketch will update automatically because of the Convert Entities relation. If I delete that relation, the line turns blue and the sketch is no longer fully defined. So, I use Convert Entities on these sections to make sure I have a fully closed sketch profile. Then I use the Trim tool to remove the extra parts. Now, I'll go to the Extruded Boss command and extrude the sketch 15 millimeters. So, from the Features tab, while still in the sketch, I select Extruded Boss command and extrude it by 15 millimeters in this direction. And that's how we complete the part. Now, let's take a closer look at this exercise. Suppose I had drawn the sketch on this face instead. Let me delete the feature I just created. Here's the original sketch I drew. To move this sketch from its current face to a different face, I can right-click the sketch and choose Edit Sketch Plane, another very useful command. I select Edit Sketch Plane, and in the Sketch Plane box, where the current sketch plane is listed, I choose this new face instead. The sketch is now moved to this face. Now, how can I still create the same shape with this sketch on the new plane? I select the sketch and go to the Extruded Boss command. Since I want the material added in this specific area, the extrusion needs to start from a different position. So in the Extruded Boss command, I need to change the From section to define where the extrusion starts. Let's examine the From conditions. The first option is Sketch Plane, which starts the extrusion right from the sketch plane. The next option is Surface, Face, Plane, which lets you select any existing surface, created face, or plane as the starting point for the extrusion. So, I can select this option, and then select the face in the box that appears. This means the extrusion will start adding material from the selected face. Now, it's pretty straightforward. In direction 1, I reverse the direction and set the distance to 15 millimeters. We also have the Vertex option, which lets us start the extrusion from a specific vertex or point. For example, I select this point, and the extrusion will start from that point, in either direction. The last option is Offset, which you're already familiar with from sketching. It allows the extrusion to start at a specific offset distance from the sketch plane. I choose the offset condition, reverse the direction, and set it to 10 millimeters, for example. This adds material starting 10 millimeters away from the sketch plane. So very simply, by selecting the surface option, picking this face, reversing the direction, and setting the distance to 15 millimeters, we create the shape.